There's one thing that every single runner has in common at some point. We've all decided to lace up our running shoes and go for our first ever run.
Running has given me some of the most incredible experiences imaginable. I've met so many amazing people and I genuinely love it so much. But saying that, it wasn't always easy to get into running, and there is a lot of stuff that I wish I had known at the start of my running journey.
Whether you're completely new to running or you've been here before but failed to stay consistent, we're here to help so you can feel that exact same feeling.
So in this video, we're going to strip running back to the basics. We're going to give you some tools to help kickstart your running journey and show you how to set goals too.
We're going to dive into what happens to your body when you start running, workouts and training plans to get you started, and also how to adjust them when you start to progress.
We'll also talk through some of the mental and physical challenges that you may face in your running journey and how to overcome these so that you can stick with it, keep motivated and achieve your goals. Okay, so before we start talking about running, let's talk about mindset, motivation and preparation.
Yeah, we talked about this recently on the podcast as well, about fears in running, and it actually made me realise that I'm not alone. So much of the time, I think we compare ourselves to others, and that is driven in part by looking at others on social media.
Oh, 100%, not even on social media, just around. When I first started running, I was coming from going to the gym a lot, and that is where I just compared myself to every other person in the room.
Looks,
just literally comparing myself of, oh, I want to look like that, or how do I look like that? Can I look like that? But actually then when I started running, it was just me and a friend, there was no one else around, and I was finally in a space where I was just focusing on myself and what my body was doing rather than what it looked like. So that would be my advice is, are you in an environment where you are comparing yourself to other people, and how can you put yourself in an environment where you're not comparing yourself? But have you struggled with that too?
Well, for me, it was kind of similar because I was kind of training with people who at times were elite athletes. I mean, Andy, he's a lot older than me, but he is an Olympian, and
But that's that school environment, isn't it?
It is, but it wasn't just school, Sarah. It was right the way through our 20s. Like, I'm training and going out with people who are just doing incredible things all the time, and I was nowhere near like that. But how I think I kind of hopefully turn it around is, I began to see them as an inspiration and not, oh, right, you know, I can only do a 20th of what they can do. And it was like, right, I'm going to try and put my own times, improve my own times, and get better at my own running and not worry about other people.
And use that as motivation as well. So let's talk about motivation. Motivation can come from good planning and preparation, and this can get you in the best possible mindset. A really good starting place for this is to pick a goal, and this goal should be yours, unique to you. This is going to give you a sense of purpose and a bit of direction, and hopefully will not only motivate you to keep running, but will also allow you to track and monitor your running progress over time and adjust the goals based on where your fitness goes.
One problem with this might be that you set a goal though that is just a little bit too far in the distance, and if you don't hit that goal you might get frustrated. If you're frustrated, you're feeling underwhelmed, and if you're feeling underwhelmed, well, you just lose all your motivation from it.
Yeah, it's kind of like trying to build a house without having the proper foundations.
Yeah.
You're at risk of it all falling apart and you're just going to be left feeling a little bit stuck.
Set a goal that is both attainable and challenging, that motivates you to get out and run. Now, this could be down to distance on your feet. It could be time that you're out on your run, or I really like this one. It could be down to just saying, I am going to consistently run every single week. No matter what it is, it's about getting you out regularly on your feet.
Yeah, and then once you've got that goal, then you can start to mentally prepare. So I'm a little bit old school with this. What I recommend is grab pen and paper, write down the goal in the middle of the page. Then on the left-hand side of the page, write down all of your worries associated with that goal. And then on the right-hand side of the page, write down your whys. Why are you taking on this challenge? Why do you want to take yourself out of your comfort zone? And why are you putting your running shoes on and getting out the door?
Yeah, I love the writing down stuff. That means that if you ever feel a dip in your motivation, you can look at that why as a reminder and help boost your motivation.
Absolutely, and then once you've got that goal, you can work out your training plan around it to help you achieve it. Now, we talked about how personal it is, so I'm going to go off this way and start my training. Don't get lost and end up in the hot tub.
I'll try.
Right, now you are brimming with motivation and confidence, it's time to get your shoes on and get running. Whether you are brand new to running or even if you've done it before but struggle to stay consistent, that is where a training plan is key. It's not all about training to improve, but just having something to keep you accountable and get out of the door. As a wise man called Tom once said on the running channel, if I don't have a plan, I'm not gonna run.
Every training plan will follow a similar pattern. The time you spend on your feet will gradually increase week by week, so that your body gets used to those stresses and strains that's put on it, and you build up a decent aerobic base.
If you are new to running, then consider starting with a run-walk plan. So do a 5-minute walk to warm up and then alternate between 2 minutes of running and 4 minutes of walking. Do this to build up to kind of 20 to 25 minutes of a total session, and then each week you could reduce the amount of walking by a minute and then aim to increase the amount of running by 1 minute. This is going to help you increase your stamina and your fitness, building up nice and gently, and should give you a lot of confidence with your running.
Try having a target on your training, whether that be a tree or a bench. Having those targets on your eye line can really help your brain process what you're doing. It's at the finishing line in a race. When you see that gantry, you know that you're nearly there.
Plan a route that you're comfortable and familiar with. Not only will this help you feel safe when you're out on a run, but it's also a great way of being able to track your progress. You might think that you might get a bit bored of running the same route over and over again, but it's a great way of tracking whether you can run it a little bit faster and you're improving, or you might be able to run a little bit further and track your progress that way. It's also a great way of beating procrastination for getting out the door, because you don't have to decide where you're going each time.
How are you feeling now you've got going? Have you found your pace? You probably will do after a couple of runs. And if you've got any pain, aches, niggles, it's time to stop, slow down and think, do I need to run through this? It's probably best you don't, because you could get a serious injury and that will knock your motivation.
If you are ready to take on a training plan, then there are lots of different options available to you. So you might be able to find free training plans on websites or through magazines. In fact, we have free running training plans on the Running Channel website, so go check those out. Or if you're able to, you could buy a training plan through an app or get an online coach as well. Being able to monitor your progress through a training plan is a really easy way to track your progress through running. And as well, if you have a running watch, you may be able to program your workouts into your watch and see your real-time progress too.
Everyone here at the Running Channel has their own story about how they started running. For me, it was cross country at school, which led to sticking around because I wanted to stay fit. And then I got into parkrun, the weekly Saturday morning free run at 9 AM. And for me, it's about consistency. It's about maintaining a work-life balance. And for me, running's become pretty much non-negotiable. I had 2 years out when I couldn't run at all. And that was really tricky, to be honest with you. It affected me not only physically, that I couldn't get out and train, but also mentally. I really missed it. The time on my feet, the fresh air, the camaraderie of running with other people, and also just that consistency of having that time in your week where your mind could just go to something completely different, get away from phones. It's a complete reset for me, and it still is today. And also that adrenaline, that feeling when you're done, nothing really beats it. You can't buy a runner's high. I think what's changed for me is the social bit. It used to be training, races out on my own. Now it's races, coffee shop, bring the kids to the park. It's got a whole community around it. Sometimes I forget I'm even there to run.
So my running journey has been a total roller coaster, but I wouldn't have it any other way. It's 10 years this year since I first picked up my first pair of running shoes and went for a run. I was severely overweight, struggling massively with my mental health, and I needed to do something. So late one night I picked up a pair of battered old trainers and I got myself out of the sofa and went for a 1K run. Probably it wasn't even 1K. I obviously didn't have anything to track it. But that changed. It's like a light bulb went off in my head, and that's when I became a runner. I got into a routine of running. I got a place in the London Marathon. I ran 4 marathons and 6 half marathons in a year, and obviously got a stress fracture. So one tip I'm going to give you guys is to not go all in. I have a very addictive personality, and it fully came out at that time. And I took on the Marathon des Sables, which was the toughest foot race on planet Earth. Sahara Desert, 40 degrees, carrying all your kit, 5 days, 250k, you name it. It doesn't sound great on paper, but it was incredible. I always think of running as an enabler. It enables me to improve my mental health. It enables me to improve my physical health. It enables me to find new friends like you guys. And it enables me to explore new and incredible places.
I have a love-hate relationship with running. And for some people, they think that that means that I actually just don't like running and I'm in denial. But that's not true. I love running and I love the feeling that it gives me and the sense of accomplishment, but I hate it because it's very hard and it is something that I find mentally more than physically challenging most of the time. I need structure, I need a plan, as the hate of running can easily seep in, and without that kind of like mission and that goal at the end, it's just something that I might slip off my calendar. A lot of people also might say running with friends, get a community, join a club is the way to get into running. Although I do like running with friends, I kind of disagree with that a little bit. So if you're a bit like me and likes to go out for a run for just your own pure benefit, and you want alone time, you want to be with yourself, really kind of nailing that mission, then running alone is fine. I run alone 99% of the time, and that is by choice, because I do have running friends.
So I would say that I properly got into running when I was at university, and it took me quite a while to actually appreciate why I like running. So when I started off, I'd dip in and out of it because it would always be that I was running because I wanted to punish myself for eating too much or to just burn loads of calories. And I think when running changed for me, when I set myself a goal that I wanted to work towards, that's when I started enjoying it, and that's when I kind of got the bug and just can't live without it anymore. So I signed up to my first half marathon at university, and the structure of that training was amazing. And I think what I really loved about it was that I would socialise with friends in that way. So we'd all go out on a little training run, and it just meant that I enjoyed it so much. It set me up for the day, it gave me those endorphins, and it gave me something that I now can't live without. Exciting challenges, keeping the variety there is what helps me to stick to my running.
So my running journey started with a friend at university, but very quickly that friend went off on a year abroad, and so I was left with the decision of, do I stop or do I carry on? I carried on because for the first time I was doing exercise not because I hated myself, but because I loved the way it made me feel, and it made me really appreciate my body for the first time as well. Then I signed up to my first running club and signed up to my first 10k at the same time, and I connected with so many incredible people, specifically female runners too, and honestly just had the best time training for that 10k and really achieved something that I never thought was possible. And actually it reminds me of exactly what we're trying to do with the Running Channel Club as well. If you don't know, we have the club. It's where runners can come into the space, chat to each other, ask questions, solve problems, and just share their love of running. And it is everything that I love about running. Connecting with other people, sharing and celebrating achievements, and just sharing the love of running too. So go check it out if you're not in the club. If you are in the club, go shout at people in the comments about why it's so great.
So that's us. What about you? How did you get into running? Let us know in the comments.
So we kicked off this video talking about how do you motivate yourself to start running, but now we're going to shift the focus to thinking about how do you keep that momentum going and motivate yourself to get out and keep running.
Yeah, running can hugely improve your physical and mental health. It releases hormones called endorphins, as well as chemicals like dopamine, which can hugely give you a boost and may even improve your memory, your whole state of mind, and potentially give you something called runner's high, which if you've had it, is something rather special. It might not come to you straight away, but when it hits you, you'll know about it.
One way to stay motivated, join a running club. They'll likely have a mixture of different sessions on all throughout the week, and it can give you a great opportunity to try trail running or track running for the first time too. Most importantly, it gives you an appointment to be there, so you can't procrastinate or delay your session.
And prioritize self-improvement. We've got a host of videos here at the Running Channel which help you improve your running, whether that be speed work, motivation to get yourselves out the door, or maybe you just want to run a little bit further every single week. We have got you covered.
Yeah, and hopefully we've given you some motivation to start running and stick with it.
Yeah, and do check out this video as well, where Andy taught Tom all about pacing. It didn't go quite to plan at the start, but then he figures it out, quite literally.